Well, thank you all for coming. This is informal. What we're going to do is, if you were at the fairgrounds the last time we had a fair 2 years ago, you would have thought the schoolhouse was looking kind of dingy, it needed paint, wasn't kept up, the ramp was rotting away, and look at it today, just beautiful, isn't it? And so what we're here for is actually to thank all of you who helped, and I'm like local history, and so I was asked if I might give a short history of this school. Well, of course, I was just talking to my friend down here who went to school. Curtis Schmidt went to school. What years did you go here, Curtis? Do you remember? 45, in the 40s? Graduated in 1945. Okay, so if you really want to know any history, don't bother me. You don't ask me, you ask Curtis. But, okay. I'm going to tell you a real brief history of the school from what I have been able to get from other people. My name is Russ Hansen. My wife Barbara and I have been helping out at the school here for about 15 years, volunteering to help get things going on here. So we're pretty familiar with the school itself, and visited even with teachers who used to teach in the school when it was open. We'll get to when that was. So I'm going to find out a little bit about you. How many of you went to a one-room school sometime in your life? Well, Curtis, you did too, Pat. Okay, I did also. I don't imagine anyone here taught in a one-room school, right? No. I'm probably the closest to having done that. I started my teaching career, I didn't stay at it, but I started my teaching career in 1974 at the smallest school district in Wisconsin, Washington Island. You know where the Green Bay Packers are? Well, you drive up the end of the Door County Peninsula, then you get on a ferry boat, and you go 45 more minutes out into the Lake Michigan, and there was a school district, first grade through 12th grade. It was 90 kids, and I was 7th grade through 12th grade, Mr. Math and Mr. Science. So I had a little feel of it. I attended the Wolf Creek School north of here, so I'm familiar with that when it was a Wolf Creek, when it was a one-room school. When I taught school, and I've got an audience out here that I think of as students, the first thing you do is you get their brains working, right? And so as a math teacher, I tried to do some math stuff that got people thinking. So I'm going to start with that building behind us. It's got a brand new roof. It's an administration building with white paint on it. It was built in 1930. Well, it was first used in 1939. How many years old?
82.
82. My goodness, that was a fast answer.
The same age as my wife.
Oh!
Can I say your place?
All right, so then that was an easy one. Just north of it, or just whatever direction that is, beyond it is the 4-H building that was built in 1928. How old is that one? How about Russell? How old? 1928. How old is it? Get your fingers, take your shoes off. Okay. It's, how old is it?
93.
93, right? Right next to us is this building we call the Pavilion Building. It was originally built as the Women's Building, and it is probably the oldest building left on the fairgrounds that I'm aware of. It was built in 1913. And so, all right. How old is that?
98.
98. The rest of you are just slouching off. Okay. And this building here is a model schoolhouse built in 1917 to show this is an early kind of building of a school, this kind of shed building. Like the town hall, the church, and the school all look the same. This one was built in 1917 to show by the Polk County Education Department to show what a modern one-room school should look like. It never was used as a school. It was the exhibit place on the fairgrounds for those of us who went to rural schools, our best handwriting, our best drawing or whatever. Anyway, we would show it off in there. And also the latest in textbooks, the latest in books on plans to build schools. So that's another quite old building. And at 1917, how old is it?
94.
94. All right, now we're up to where we at. 100. Oh!
104, that's what I said.
104. So it's actually, so this one is actually 100 and, yeah. Anyway, this building here didn't get built on this fairgrounds. It was built south of Osceola. It has a very interesting history there. Curtis was telling us about it a little bit about it when he went to school here, and before I had a basement and that. But it was built according to, there's some various things, but the best one I can find is 1859, which is how many years ago?
141 plus 21. Right?
162 years old. That's 160 years. It was built down there. It was used for nearly 100 years as a rural school, a one-room school, and sometimes was packed full of probably 50 or 60 kids, and other times less. And so it had a long life as a schoolhouse. Then most of the rural schools closed because of a state law that said you got to be part of, you can't have all these little schools that aren't there, you got to be part of a bigger district. And so they became part of the Osceola School District, and it was closed. And the the Polk County History Society at the time had thought, well, maybe we should preserve a few of these old schools that are all being closed. And so they looked for the two oldest ones. And this one down by Osceola was the oldest they could find. And another one up by Cushing, Wisconsin, the Lanesdale School, was the second oldest by maybe 20 years less than this. I'm not quite sure. But would you remember how old that one is? Okay. Anyway, so they moved one to the Polk County to Balsam Lake, which is now part of the county museum. And then they moved one here as also sort of a museum place on the fairgrounds. And, according to the newspaper article, they asked the children in all the schools, save your pennies and donate them, and we'll pay for moving these buildings onto the fair. So this one has been here since, let's say, I believe it was 63 or, but let's say 1960, so you don't have to calculate so hard.
Right.
How
61.
61 years here, and about 100 years down in Osceola. So that puts us pretty close to 162 years old. So that gets us to the fair here. And I have some notes that I could look and see if for some reason. Oh, yeah. You know, when this was the first Polk County fairs were held south of Osceola. In 1861 to 1866, the county fair was right where this school was. This school was on the original fairgrounds. And I looked through the old 1860s original fair records. They're at River Falls in the archives. And it says that in 1864, several political speeches were given in the schoolhouse. So now we're going to try, instead of a mathematician, we're going to try a historian. What president would have the politicians been stumping for in this schoolhouse in 1864? Yes. Oh, that's a little too far back. What's the next famous president you know? I gave you a clue. He had a beard. Oh, yeah, Lincoln. Okay, so the student, yeah, Abraham Lincoln. So in 1864, when they were giving political speeches in here, probably somebody was saying, let's re-elect Abraham Lincoln because the Civil War is going so well, and whatever. But anyway, it's really quite interesting. My great-grandmother died when I was about 5. She went to a school like this, not this one, but she went to a school like this. And she said, she told us boys, when I was 10 years old, they shut down the school. The school board president head came to the school and said, Abraham Lincoln has been shot. Go home, all of you kids. School is off. And tell your parents Abraham Lincoln was shot. Undoubtedly, that would have happened here because the school was already 6 years old when Lincoln was shot. So kind of an interesting history. Okay, now we have the other part of this is we have raised money. We're going to start thanking people here to do the exterior paint. We've got this ramp done. We have a bunch of work to do on the inside yet and some more window work on it. And so we're still looking for more donations and stuff. But we're stopping right now and celebrating how nice it looks, how wonderful we're coming along, and with the hopes that we're going to soon finish it. So I'm going to switch to bring Rosalie up here, who's going to remind me who it is that we're going to thank, because the project of restoring this got started in 2017 when I was grumbling, gee, you know, we should do some work on this school, and I like to grumble about that, but I didn't ever get to doing anything. And Rosalie and the St Croix Falls Historical Society said, well, you know, we really should do something about it. And so she started doing something about it and pushed and nudged and all sorts of people to help out, and that's what we're going to recognize today. So I'm here to give you the history, and Rosalie is here to take credit for pushing everybody to do something, right? So let's see if we can put the thank you. See if I can find my list. Thank you. I think we're going to start thanking somebody that probably isn't here. Anyone from the HCE? That's the Home Community Education, or it used to be called the Homemakers. In 2017, they gave us a nice starting donation to get some money and made it think like, yeah, we can raise some money because we got some in. So that was the first group we started. I'm going to immediately switch to the latest donation. We'll do the others in between. In the latest donation, someone, I believe it was Rosalie, wrote up a Operation Polk County Electric Company Operation Roundup grant to get some money to keep working on this school. You wrote it up, right? So let's bring up our Operation Roundup person.
I'm going to tell you that this Polk charity has been wonderful to many, many different societies, as well as 4-H'ers. Anything that someone needs help with, they're there. And I don't know, Joan would like maybe to speak of how it started, how this roundup started.
Well, I can just share quickly with everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at the fair and be a part of this project. And let you all know that this is through the generosity of the members of Polk Electric Cooperative, who round up their electric bill, and all of that money goes into a separate kitty, and then it is shared out in the community where it's going to do the greatest good. And so we have a board of directors who award roundup dollars quarterly, and we're all very grateful to be here today to celebrate one of those projects here with the Little Red Schoolhouse. So my name is Joan O'Fallon. I work for Polk Electric Cooperative, and my coworker Rhonda Basie is here with me as well, and we both work for the Electric Cooperative representing Operation Roundup. So thank you very much.
Today we have the special staff, some teachers. These are the teachers that help us to know that they give back to our community. They serve us and they teach others to help these charity groups.
the next one will be Russell, and, well, I forgot your mouse. Okay, come on up.
This is a special honor for me. I have done several Eagle Scout projects, but because this relates to history, and I didn't quite understand why a young man would like to do this, but I'm going to ask him how he chose this project. But I wanted to thank his parents, because this was done during COVID time, and it was very difficult for him to get additional help. And he did give it. I don't know how, he begged, cried, whatever, but it was just wonderful working with the family, and I got to know them very well. So they again get the Apple Award, but not to give us a reason why.
I wanted to do a project that helped the community. I wanted to do a project that helped the community, and Rosalie asked my troop if anyone was willing to help her build a ramp here, and I thought that would be the perfect opportunity to come help. And so my parents and I, we got all the supplies from Rosalie, and we just built the ramp. We took down the old one.
And here's your
What we have is Rosalie wrote letters to all the historical societies in the county. I believe there are 9 of them, and asked, would you like to help with our school restoration project? And so we got a nice return, and so we have, okay, we're going to pick the Osceola Historical Society. Pat, would you like to stand up? Pat Ayatollah from Osceola, they gave us a donation. And they have a nice display in there, some books on Osceola. For those of you who don't know, it's a kind of a suburb of Dresser. Also, we'll go through the History Society. The Luck Area Historical Society gave a donation. And I think Margot Hansen in the back is on the board of the Luck Historical Society, so thank you. The Sterling, Eureka, and Lake Town Historical Society gave a donation, and we'll put Margot Hansen on the spot. I'm in that group too, but that was there. The Polk County Genealogical Society, which has a nice display. By the way, all of us have displays in here. The Polk County Genealogical Society gave a donation. And let's see, should we point out the president of that group, Margot Hansen? Let's see. Now
I certainly appreciate the fair and all the fair people, the officers, the society, and all of the volunteers. Whoa, wait a minute. And it's been a pleasure. They've always been very positive. If I ask for this or that, and said, green light, we're history people. We want to see these buildings preserved. And I applaud them for that. And I would be, Carrie Swinson, yes, and Janice Larson are very strong leaders in this particular fairground and have been doing it for years. And I have to say, it is such a fresh breath of air after COVID to come back to these buildings looking so fresh. We appreciate you so much. There's an apple here for you too.
Now we add a few more. Walmart gave us a donation. Marketplace gave us a donation. And the lumber yard helped with the wood business here for the ramp and that. So we had of folks involved. The final one that we want to bring is Rosalie is a member of the St Croix Falls Historical Society, but we also have the president of the Historical Society, and this is where we actually get they are the ones that are pushing this themselves behind it, and so the rest of us are just helping out, and so we really appreciate that. And this will swing us into the ribbon cutting, right? So you go ahead and tell us something in those kind of things.
I'll be very brief, but I particularly want to thank Russ Hansen and Margot. Russ has been a real stalwart behind not only the Little Red Schoolhouse, but the county fair. And I have been enjoying reading his weekly articles in the Inter-County Leader on the history of the Polk County Fair. And every one is a revelation, and Russ is, I believe, is committed to having in book form a history of the Polk County Fair when he finishes going through many documents that remain to go through. I also want to thank Rosalie Kittleson for all she has done over many years. And when she joined our board on the St. Croix Falls Historical Society, she and Bob Clark shook hands across our board table and they talked about taking over oversight of the Little Red Schoolhouse when the Polk County Historical Society had decided to step aside, and Rosalie heads up our committee and our task force, and there will be more to come in the years ahead. The other, in seconding Rosalie's remarks, I was privileged to have a tour with Fair Society President Janice Larson in her ATV this morning to ride around the fairgrounds and to see all of the wonderful work that's been done this year and last year in painting new roofs, cleaning up, all sorts of things happening, and other good things on the drawing board. And Janice was talking about being a 4-H member and a daughter and a granddaughter, I think, of a 4-H members going back many generations. And she knows this fairgrounds and the fair society and the fair inside and out. It's doing a yeoman's job of getting things shipshape for the 2021 Polk County Fair. And with no further ado at this point, have a pair of scissors that Rosalie was able to borrow. And it probably weighs 10, 15 pounds or whatever, and she assures me that it does cut. And so we are going to officially mark this. I'm going to interrupt again. All the volunteers who were mentioned, the ramp. Dan Clark was involved in the painting and the steps, and there are just a lot of people involved. Our heartfelt thanks go out to all of them.
So all of you who are recognized, come on up here. You're going to help cut this ribbon.
Both Burnett and all the other donors, and it's so heartening to have the volunteerism that goes into this county fair event. And thank you for being here. See you when.
Okay. Sure, go ahead.
You should be up here, Jim.
No, I'm just watching here. I'm nervous.
All right?
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. I felt myself might be a little difficult. Is the newspaper here by chance? I don't see them. That's too bad. Very nice. Well, there is some refreshments yet, and we're going to sit them on the picnic table. And you know, to do this a little bit faster, if I could have a couple people come up and help me, probably those that are steady on the ramp or something. If the
Sure, I couldn't see too well because you were flashing.
or come up the steps.
Kind of pointed to the front.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Are you
I'm Russ's son.
you're Russell's son?
Yes.
Oh.
So I get to tag along on all the
Isn't that
fun
nice?
adventures.
And he was a teacher then, I take it.
Mhm.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Is there any way I could get a picture from you
Yeah.
of the grant presentation?
Yeah.
I'll give you, like, if I give you my email, or is it
Oh,
better
yeah,
to,
absolutely.
is it better to
Yeah.
text it or email
No, I've been
it,
taking
or-
pictures the whole time. So
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
give you a card. If
that'd be fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your name?
Scott.
Scott.
Hansen.
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna grab someone to take.